Colbyjack.net is proud to present From the Flames by Trisha M. Wilson. The people of the fire, the Blesa, led by their queens, have ruled the island of Alfeyju and oppressed the Driva, the people of the ice, for more than 16 generations. With the Drivian King in hiding and little hope on the horizon, the Driva looked to one person to save them from the vile Blesa, the Diviana. According to legend, the divinely gifted Diviana will one day overthrow the Blesa and restore the Drivian King to his rightful throne. But with the search having lasted for more than 400 years, will the Diviana ever come to light? Willow is the slave of the Raskpil family. Bought at the age of 4, 20 years have passed since her life irrevocably changed. Her existence is no worse than any other slave, but within, Willow wonders if there isn't something more she should be doing with her life other than serving the ungrateful. Ordered to travel with her master's family to Sondertoft, so her master's adult children can take part in an ancient rite of passage, Willow is shocked when she learns that she too must participate. Will she fail, as all before her have? Will she rise to the challenge and become stronger after passing through the flames? Episode 75. Chapter 40. Planning. For the rest of that day, Hawk did get better. Willow and him didn't land in any more ponds, or anything else nasty. He became more accurate, especially if he couldn't picture exactly where he wanted to go. As long as he had an idea of what it should look like and how far he wanted to be from some location, he'd get there fine. "I think we should see how you do with more people," Sigurd said the next morning. "You've gotten a lot better with one more person, but there's 7 of us, and that's 6 different trips with you going back and forth, and if you could take all of us, or even half of us at a time, it'd be better." "I also think you should see if you could transport a person without going with them," Willow said. "Kind of like what I was doing with those stones and logs?" Hawk asked. "Yes, exactly the same way." "Which should he try first?" Kalina asked. "I mean, which one is more important?" Sigurd and Willow looked at each other, contemplating the different options. Sigurd broke the silence. "I think he should try bringing along more people first. That way we know he can do it. If he can't, then we have a problem." "I agree," Hawk said. "It's probably the easier of the 2 options anyway. So who wants to be the second person? Any volunteers?" "I'll do it," Sigurd said, getting to his feet. "What have I got to do?" "Take Willow's hand," Hawk said. "Shouldn't he be on the other side to balance you out?" Willow asked as Sigurd grabbed her hand. "I was thinking that if we're going to do this, we won't always have an even amount of people. I want to try out different configurations of people arranging to see if there is a best way," Hawk explained. "You've really thought about this, haven't you?" Sigurd commented. "Yes, I have." As the morning progressed into the afternoon, more and more of the group joined Hawk while he traveled around the immediate area. Most of the times, everything was fine. But there were still the occasions when someone ended up in a bush or plastered into a tree. The most interesting part of the practices were the different shapes the group could make as more people joined and the effect it had on the transportation. Apart from the asymmetric line of people attached to Hawk, they tried triangles, squares, and circles of various sizes. They found that no matter what they did in these various formations, they all ended up at the same place in the blink of an eye with no problems. But when they tried having Hawk in the middle of the circle with everyone touching him, something went wrong. Hawk left, but nobody else did. The people who were around him were thrown back, falling to the ground. They tried this configuration a couple times, changing things each time, but the results were always the same. These incidents and peculiarities made them all realize that transporting people was not an exact science, and that no matter how well planned or thought out a location was, things could still happen. During lunch, Hawk said, "I'm tired. All that moving around today is exhausting. Why don't we start our plans on how to get the last sacred object?" "But what about the second thing you wanted to practice?" Laughlin asked. "We can work on that tomorrow," he said, yawning. "I need to have all my energy back before I can try something else." Willow looked at Kalina and asked, What can you tell us about Rattle-in Cottage? Well, despite its name, it isn't really a cottage, at least not in the traditional sense of the word. It's large enough to house at least 400 guests. It is on enough land for 10 cordulas. Wow, Azrin said. I'm impressed. When you said cottage, I was thinking something smaller, a lot smaller. That's the name given to the home by the queen who acquired it, and it has stuck through the years, Kalina said, shrugging. Anyway, with that amount of land area, they've always had problems patrolling it all. One of the queens, maybe a couple 100 years ago, tried to build a fence around all the royal lands, to keep out poachers and vagrants, but stopped midway through the project. She said that she stopped for some reason, like she didn't want to restrict the size of her lands in case of future expansions. Makes sense, Loffen said, nodding her head. But it doesn't, Kalina said. By not putting up that fence, she's inviting people to intrude upon her lands and telling the island that she either doesn't care or she can't stop it. You get all that from a fence? Hawk asked. I get all that from the lack of fence, she said, correcting him. Thinking about the place, I've just realized that it's kind of beneficial that we don't have a ship anymore. The bluffs near the cottage are very, very tall, and you can't land a ship anywhere within a day's walking distance of the place. As for the staff, the last time I was there were 30 guards. But from what I learned by talking to people, there are usually only 5 or so guards there full-time, and about the same number of other servants, cooks, and maids. That's a lot of room for only 10 people. Do they all live in the cottage? Sigurd asked. No, they live in the servants' residence, except for the main cook, butler, and housekeeper. They live in the attic. The attic? Willow asked. I thought you said this place was a 2-story place. What kind of attic does it have? The kind of attic which is big enough to house people and could be considered on the floor, Kalina responded. There are 3 wings, and each servant lives above one of the wings. Their rooms must be huge, then, Hawk said, sounding impressed. They're not. They're about the size of a large bedroom. The rest of the attic is devoted to storage. Storage of what? Loffen asked. Paintings, rugs, weapons, clothes, jewelry. If it's not something the current queen wants, they put it in the attic. You didn't think they'd actually throw something away or give it away, did you? No, they're the worst pack rats on the entire island. Jewelry? Willow asked. What kind of jewelry? How am I supposed to know? We were only there for a month, and I got to tell you, the place is so big. It'd take a lifetime to know exactly what was where. Then how are we going to find this necklace? Sigurd asked. What's it look like anyway? All eyes turned to Willow. I'm not sure, she admitted, but I am confident that I'll know it when I see it. That is not helpful, Azrin said. There could be thousands of necklaces, and it would take one person hours to go through them. How are we supposed to find something when we don't even know what it's supposed to look like? I don't know, she admitted. We'll worry about that later, Hawk said. What later? We can't keep putting off the hard decisions or questions anymore, Sigurd said. There aren't any more sacred objects to find. This is it. Either we find it and declare war, or we don't and live the life of hunted fugitives. That's our only options. You don't have to be so blunt, Hawk said. I know we're at the end of the road, but that doesn't mean you have to throw civility out the window. Civility is for those with options, Kalina said. We don't have any. I've got it, Willow said suddenly. Got what? Natsal asked. A plan. I know how we can find that necklace. Hawk and I will transport into the cottage concealed and search for the necklace. If we don't find it the first day, we'll have to come back again. But by being concealed, I can search for as long as I want without anyone knowing, Willow said. Why only Hawk and you? Kalina asked. Shouldn't we all come with? No, she said. If too many people come, it'll increase our chances of being caught. But you heard how big the place is. It would take the 2 of you hours to look through everything, Sigurd said. At the very least, I should come with you. No, Willow said. Well, I would love to accept your help. I'm positive only Hawk and I should go. I have to go because I'm the only one that will be able to tell it apart from the rest of the jewelry. Hawk comes because he can transport me in and out. Bringing anyone else would be a liability we don't need. But what if you get in trouble? Kalina asked. Then we'll get out of there. Remember, we'll be concealed, she said. Sigurd began to argue, but Willow said, I've made up my mind. Only 2 people are going, and you are not one of them. Live with it. Fine, I'll live with it. But will you be able to? He muttered. Why do either of you have to go? Lofven asked suddenly. What are you talking about? Sigurd asked. Hawk can transport things from one place to another without touching them, so why doesn't he, summon the necklace here? Then we don't have to do any planning or risk exposure. I have to be in the object's presence to move it, Hawk said. And the necklace won't respond to magic of that kind. We have to fight it the old-fashioned way, Willow said. You have been listening to From the Flames by Trisha M. Wilson. Read, recorded, mastered, encoded, and produced by Colbyjack.net. This work is released under a Creative Commons 3.0 Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike license. Do what you want with it, just don't try to profit from it. Heaven knows we can't. If you have any questions, comments, or rants you wish to share with us, we can be reached at Colbyjack at Colbyjack.net. That's COLBYTRAX @COLBYJACK.net. Yep, I sing it too. If you want to follow the exploits of Trisha in Twitterland, just search for Lady Trisha W on Twitter, or follow the ever-dashing, courageous, hardworking, intelligent, and immensely humble Colbyjack on the Twitters as well. If you find that you can't, just wait to find out what will happen with Willow, the strong dude and the annoying dude. Be heartened to know that From the Flames is available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Smashwords, as well as from our little shop. Didn't you know about our little shop? Why, yes, we have a little shop located at shop. That's shop.colbyjack.net. That's shop.colbyjack.net. Yeah, real original there. There you will find the latest ebook versions of all our works in both Mobi and ebook, all DRM-free, as well as audiobook versions of such works as Firmware Hijacked and Proxy, as well, naturally, as well as From the Flames. The audiobooks differ from the podcasts in that the headers and bumpers only run once, and the episodes are grouped into hour-long episodes for easy burning to CD or for downloading on the go. If you find you don't need any stuff, but just want to thank us monetarily for our efforts here, just head on over to Colbyjack.net, select either audio or visual, and look for the donate button located on the blog roll. Well, anyway, thank you for listening. Have a wonderful week, and remember to be fabulous.